Hi, and welcome to week 4, Interpreting the Law. We're now moving out of the genre of narrative and beginning to look at how the law is interpreted throughout the Old Testament. Now, this week we have a few assignments. Assignment 4.1, we're going to be looking at law codes. So in about 3 pages, I want you to analyze the similarities and the differences between the Law Code of Hammurabi and the laws of Exodus 21 to 23. So as you look at this now, as you're analyzing, always an introduction and a conclusion needs to be involved. Then I want you to analyze similarities and differences. So that means the easiest way to do that is to start with a review of what does the law code of Exodus 21 to 23 tell us, and then what is the law code of Hammurabi, and what does it tell us? When were they written? How were they found? And in the case of the Hammurabi law code, what was the significance? Were they ever followed? All those types of details. And then I want you to analyze the specifics of the code as to, are there aspects of Hammurabi's law code and Exodus 21 to 23 that are the same or very similar, and are there parts that are differences? So then I want you to look at, do they share a common purpose? Are they both law codes and therefore they're the same? That's what their intent is. Or is the law code of Hammurabi different than the law code of Exodus 21 to 23 in its purpose? In addition, I want you to be sure to add a paragraph explaining why these two codes may share similar laws and similar language. Don't forget to include an introduction and a conclusion. And that's a good chance for me to kind of talk about the conclusion of assignments. I have noticed that the conclusions so far this semester are quite often perfunctory, or you just add them because I said you have to have a conclusion. And yet, as we become undergraduate students and move towards graduate level work, you have to be able, in your conclusion, to accomplish 2 goals. One is, what did we learn through this assignment? What was the academic purpose of going through this process? And then secondly, how can I apply that to my own life or ministry? And so while I haven't marked off often on conclusions, starting in week 4 and moving through the end of the semester, I'm going to begin to prioritize the work that is being done in the conclusion, because that's an important part of why are we doing this? What did you really learn? Beyond the analysis, the why and the how does it impact me? So be sure on the law code of Hammurabi assignment, as well as all of your assignments, to include a conclusion and include some real meat in there on why the conclusion is important. That will help to move your writing quality forward, as well as maintain higher scores. Now, we also have an assignment 4-2, which is looking at the intent of biblical interpretation. Now, we've already talked about this a little bit, but this week you're going to academically truly explore the what are we trying to accomplish with biblical interpretation. So in a 2 to 3 page paper, answer the following question. What is the goal of biblical interpretation? Be sure to include a discussion of the role of the author's intent and the reader's understanding. We can actually approach biblical interpretation from the position of the author, or some argue that we can approach biblical interpretation from the role of the reader. And what did the initial reader understand, and what do we understand? So what is the focus? Whose understanding of the writing is the important understanding that we're trying to uncover? This paper should contain an introduction and a conclusion. In addition, each paper should include engagement with the assigned reading, biblical support, and not listed here, but also very important, outside research. Now, one place that you might want to jump ahead is I have a chapter in that book Trajectories that you're reading. The last chapter talks a little bit more about this, and we're at that point in the course that you can skip ahead and perhaps use that chapter as a resource for the balance of our semester. Okay, then we also have a discussion post. After you have read the Klein reading for this week, do you believe that the biblical text has one fixed meaning or several levels of meaning? Can't say both. So which one do you believe? Is there one meaning, many applications, or actually several levels of meaning that are brought out in the text by the Holy Spirit over the course of time to different readers? Both can be supported. One I think is a little more correct than the other, but pick the one that you think is right and support it. That will help us to create some dialogue and discussion this week between different positions. Be sure to interact with the assigned Klein reading in addition to adding your own reflection and arguments. So we're moving into the halfway section of the course. I think we're coming along really well. I look forward to reading your assignments this week and seeing what you come up with on our goal for interpretation. Have a great day.